Welcome the timeless forgotten mystery. Hello, friends. On February 1st, 2003, NASA's Columbia Space Shuttle was returning to Earth. Inside were 7 astronauts, and among them was someone truly special to India, mission specialist Kalpana Chawla. After spending 2 weeks in space, these astronauts were finally coming home. Their families and friends waited eagerly for their return. For them, it was a special day, though for NASA, it was considered a routine flight, the 28th mission of the Columbia program. At 8:44 a.m., Columbia re-entered Earth's atmosphere. Everything seemed normal. All systems were working perfectly. On the ground, at NASA Space Center, capsule communicator Charlie Hobble was in contact with the shuttle. A few minutes later, he discussed the shuttle's tire pressure readings with the astronauts. "Columbia, Houston, we see your tire pressure messages," he said. Mission Commander Rick Husband began to reply, but suddenly the transmission was cut off. Only one word from him came through: "Roger." After that, silence. Charlie tried repeatedly to re-establish contact, but there was no response. 10 minutes passed. Still nothing. "Columbia, Houston, UHF com check," he called again. No one knew it yet, but Columbia had exploded. Moments later, the Kennedy Space Center received a call. "Switch on the TV and watch the news." The horrifying images showed trails of fire streaking across the sky, like a comet breaking apart. At 9:12 a.m., debris from the space shuttle began raining down over Texas. NASA soon realized the truth: a catastrophe had occurred. A few hours later, U.S. President George W. Bush addressed the nation. "My fellow Americans, this day has brought terrible news and great sadness. The Columbia is lost. There are no survivors." All 7 astronauts had perished, including the 40-year-old Indian-born American, Kalpana Chawla, a woman whose story continues to inspire millions. Kalpana Chawla was born on March 17, 1962, in Karnal, Haryana, into a conservative family. Her parents, Banarasalal and Sanjota Chawla, had migrated from Pakistan during the partition. Kalpana, their youngest child, was lovingly called Montu at home. When she was enrolled in school, she didn't have an official name, so she chose one herself, Kalpana, meaning imagination. No one could have imagined then how far her imagination would take her. Her brother recalls that even as a child, Kalpana was determined. "I'll show these boys that I'm not just a silly girl," she would say. In the 1960s, Haryana wasn't a place where girls were encouraged to dream big. But Kalpana's fascination with flight grew as she watched airplanes soaring in the sky. She often visited the local flying club with her father, who noticed her growing passion. Despite her family's and teachers' advice against pursuing aeronautics, a male-dominated field at the time, Kalpana refused to give up. She earned her bachelor's degree in aeronautical engineering from Punjab Engineering College and then moved to the United States for her master's at the University of Texas, even against her father's wishes. "Forget about space," she once said. "I didn't even know if my folks would let me go to engineering college." In 1988, she completed her PhD in aerospace engineering from the University of Colorado and joined NASA's Ames Research Center at age 26. There, she specialized in fluid dynamics, studying how air flows around aircraft wings. She was also a licensed pilot for airplanes, gliders, and seaplanes. In 1991, she became a U.S. citizen, and by 1994, she was among the 20 astronauts selected out of 4,000 applicants for NASA's space program. 3 years later, in November 1997, she went on her first spaceflight, STS-87, on the Columbia Shuttle. During that mission, she orbited the Earth over 250 times in 2 weeks, operating the shuttle's robotic arm to deploy a satellite named Spartan, designed to study the Sun. When the satellite malfunctioned, she faced criticism, but later it was revealed the issue wasn't her fault. The mission was declared a success, and Kalpana became the first Indian-born woman and the first South Asian American woman to travel to space. Even India's Prime Minister, Inder Kumar Gujral, congratulated her directly. "Kalpana, we are proud of you." To which she humbly replied, "Thank you, sir." Describing her first journey to space, Kalpana once said, "When you look at the stars and galaxy, you feel you are not just from any piece of land, but from the solar system." Her second mission, STS-107, launched on January 16, 2003. This mission focused on continuous scientific experiments in space, 80 in total, covering life sciences, fluid physics, and material science. Kalpana studied how combustion works in microgravity, how fires behave, and even how cancer cells grow differently in space. During the mission, students from across the world, including Australia, Israel, Japan, China, and the US, participated by sending small science experiments conducted by the astronauts. Even schoolchildren studied how ants, bees, and silkworms reacted in space. One fascinating discovery was that flowers smell different in zero gravity. Though the astronauts transmitted 30% of their experimental data back to Earth, most of it was lost in the disaster. Surprisingly, some roundworms that were part of the experiments survived inside aluminum canisters. Later, their descendants were sent to space again in 2011 on the Endeavour shuttle, a small symbol of survival from Columbia's tragedy. But what caused this tragedy? Did the astronauts make a mistake? The answer is no. None of them were aware of what was coming. Just a minute before communication was lost, the shuttle's software showed tire pressure warnings from the left wing. The truth was shocking. NASA had known there might be a problem since launch day. Just 81 seconds after takeoff, a small piece of foam broke off and struck Columbia's left wing at nearly 900 kilometers per hour. Though only 750 grams in weight, it created a hole in the shuttle's thermal protection system. Some engineers requested damage assessments using spy satellites, but the management denied the request. After the disaster, NASA's Columbia Accident Investigation Board concluded that the foam strike caused the shuttle to break apart during re-entry. The cabin lost pressure instantly, and the astronauts likely lost consciousness within seconds, thankfully never experiencing the intense heat that followed. NASA halted shuttle missions for over 2 years, redesigned the foam system, and took strict safety measures. The shuttle program continued until 2011, completing 135 missions over 30 years. 14 astronauts lost their lives, 7 of them aboard Columbia, including Kalpana Chawla. Though her life was cut short, her legacy continues to inspire millions. Kalpana believed every Indian girl should have access to science education. She even convinced NASA to let students from her school in Karnal participate in a US space education program. Every year since 1998, 2 girls from her school have visited Houston for NASA's United Space School, a dream she made possible. NASA honored Kalpana and her crew by naming landmarks after them, including the Columbia Memorial Station on Mars and several asteroids between Mars and Jupiter. One of them, 51826 Kalpana Chawla, still orbits the Sun, a lasting symbol of her spirit.